Hey, this is Matt Wimmer from Brody Precision. In this video, we are taking a look at a new feature that was added in 4.14 earlier this year, and that is two-factor authentication right in Niagara with very little additional effort. It doesn't even require an internet connection from your supervisor or Jace where you install this at, and it makes use of Google Authenticator or another time-based one-time password application. So let's jump into PowerPoint real quick, and I'll walk you through the steps. I will make this happen, and then we'll jump into Niagara and actually do the work and set it up. So let's get started. All right. So our requirements, as I mentioned, this is a feature that was added in 4.14. So in order to make use of it, you will need 4.14 or above. You'll also need your time to be accurate. There is a drift of 1.5 minutes in here, but because this doesn't rely on your internet connection, it just relies on the time. You need your time to be correct because the time on the phone or the device that's going to be connecting here is very likely to be accurate. So that needs to be correct. Next, we need a TOTP application. This could be one of very many, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Authy, or your favorite password manager. I use 1Password, and I know it works with that. But you could use Bitwarden or whatever other password managers you use. It will work with this as it is just a standard time-based one-time password. And as I mentioned, it does not require an internet connection, which I think for a lot of applications is a nice added benefit because you may not have an active internet connection at all times. So what's the process look like? Well, it's actually really simple. All you're going to be doing is adding in this Google Authentication scheme, which comes up underneath the a new gAuth palette to your authentication schemes on the station. Then we'll go into our user. We'll tell the user to use that authentication scheme. We'll save it. We'll pop open the QR code that you might be used to if you're used to using one-time passwords and two-factor authentication. And then we'll scan that with our app of choice. We'll enter the confirmation code that the app gives you, and then we'll be off and running. And now anytime we go to log in with this specific user, they will need to also present their one-time password. So let's jump over to Niagara now and actually do this. Okay, so we're in Niagara now, and I'm on our demo supervisor, and I created a user here, but I don't have it set up for two-factor authentication yet. So as you can see, I log in as we normally do, where I have a username and a password, plug it in, and I'm off and running. We want to add in two-factor to this, so I'm going to log out of that user, and I'm going to jump back over into my workbench. And this is the user in question. And let me just get rid of this real fast. Okay. So as I mentioned before, we're going to open up the gAuth palette that is new in 4.14. And inside that palette, you will see a Google Authentication scheme. And we're going to add that into our services on our station. So I'm going into Config, Services, Authentication Service, and then underneath there is an Authentication Schemes folder. And by default, you'll see Digest Scheme and AX Digest Scheme. We want to take our Google Authentication Scheme and drag it up in there and hit OK. You could change the name if you wanted to, but there's no need. And now I'm going to navigate back into my user of choice that I want to use this two-factor authentication on. And it is this 2FA user that I had created before. If I scroll down a bit, there is this authentication scheme name. By default, it's going to use the digest scheme. For us, because we want two-factor, I'm going to drop that down and choose our Google authentication scheme. Hit save, and then it's going to say, okay, your authentication scheme changed, and you might need to do some things in order to update the credentials. So we'll say okay, and you'll see that I got this new little section here under the authenticator where I normally plug in my password, where I have a plus sign now. And I get a QR code when I hit that plus sign. That QR code is how our Google Authenticator is going to know the right details to give us the correct password when we, or one-time password when we go to log in here in the future. So I need to now pop open my Google Authenticator and so that we can get this set up. So let me do that now. All right, so you can see I've now got Google Authenticator opened here on the right. That's being streamed from my phone. And then I've got my station open on the left. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say add a new code. And then I'm going to say scan QR code. And then I'm going to scan the QR code. It gives me a code now. So if I hit OK, I can plug in that code 307732. Hit OK, hit save, and we're good to go. So now I'm going to go back into the browser. I'll refresh this, and now we can see that it knows that this 2FA user needs a password and a token. So I will log in now with my password and then use the token that's available to me at the moment. 035934, and we're in. Now, if I logged back out and did my password again and punched in something that was wrong, you'll see that the login fails, as we would expect. So depending on your sites and your individual use cases, this kind of additional security may be a major selling point to you for your end users. This kind of thing is becoming more well known as more banks and enterprise-y software applications make use of it and even require it for a lot of uses. So good to have in your back pocket to now know that you have the ability to do it. And as you can see, it's very easy. You don't have to set up an API that talks to something and yada, yada, yada. It's all built in right in the box. You just have to have the correct time and be using 4.14 or above. So hopefully that helps, and it's something that you could use in the future. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a comment down below if you have any questions or comments or videos you'd like to see in the future. And you can check us out at brodyprecision.com and store.brodyprecision.com for any of your controls needs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.